I fully confess that I am a selfish person. How could I not be? Me is always easier than we. But when all is said and done, I choose we. Even when it's hard and ugly, even when the hard days turn into hard weeks, my relationship with my husband is worth the effort and sacrifice. It's worth the time and energy necessary for me to become a better partner for the man who chose me. Marriage is hard, but marriage is also worth it. As they say, what comes easy won't last, and what lasts won't come easy. Okay, I'm going to keep building my case. Some statistics. This is statistics that say the real reason we talk about the hard work of marriage is to discourage divorce. That's a statistic. Now, the statistic says only 14% of married couples are truly happy. 14. Now, it said, now I'm giving, these are true statistics. Only 14 of married couples are true. Now, we didn't say what people say, but are truly happy. Because we know you can get your mouth to say anything. 79% of cheating spouses are happy while they get away with it. So 79% of one who cheats, they're happy until they get away with it. Until. So till no one knows they're happy. Let me keep building my case. I know you got a lot to say in you. But all right. Okay, all of that, depending on where you're at, sounds good and fine. But now, what does the Bible say? All right? That's what matters to believers. What does the Bible say? Second chapter of Genesis, verse 18 and 25. This is very familiar. I'm just going to read it. It says, and the Lord said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him and help meet for him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all the cattle, to the fowl of the air, to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Now we understand when God created man, he created him male and female. So there are already two compartments already in them, okay? So he says, and Adam said, or rather, in the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now, one of the key things here, if you notice, God said it is not good that man should be alone. Now, why is that important? Because if you remember in the first chapter of Genesis, during the creation, after everything God completed, after he made this and made that, he ended it by saying it was good. So after everything he created, God always ended by saying it was good. So now, here, Adam being wifeless or without a helpmeet wasn't good. So now, what does God do? He made it good when he gave him woman. Because remember, after everything God created, when he created the heavens and the earth and this and that, he always say, and it was good. And now when it's coming here, he said, it is not good that man should be alone. So what God does, he now makes it good when he gives him woman. Now, this word help me, it really means, and it's in original context, means a helper fit for him, comparable to him. Deeper definition is, the key word is suitable. It's a suitable helper. A suitable wife is compatible with her husband in many respects, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This doesn't mean that the man and woman are the same in everything, only that they fit together in harmony. They complement each other. A suitable helper for a husband is a wife who is different from him, but well suited to him, one who completes him in every way and who brings harmony, not discord, to the relationship. Okay? Also, too, now we know that from the very beginning, the marriage union was designed to be good, from Adam and Eve. And we know as a result of the fall, chaos happened, there were consequences. But we also know that because of what Jesus did, we've been redeemed from all of that. Redemption brought restoration. By one man's disobedience, Adam, made us sinners and brought death, but because of the obedience of one man, that being Jesus, brought us righteousness. So all of the chaos that happened in the garden because of the fall was now restored because of what Christ did. But we know God's original intent, from the very beginning, the union of marriage was designed to be good. Because everything in the earth was designed to be good. Okay? Let me go further. Proverbs 18 and 21. Now, we're asking, is marriage hard? Now, we read certain things that secular people said. We're just seeing what the Bible says. Proverbs 18:21 says, whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth the favor of the Lord. Now I'm going to read a few translations to that. It says, he who finds a true and faithful wife finds a good thing and obtains favor and approval from the Lord.
You know what, Pastor?
Wait, let me just hold it, because I got a lot to cover, because I don't want you to interrupt the flow. So just let me build my case. Okay. All right? Then it also says, a man's greatest treasure is his wife. She is a gift from the Lord. This is all Proverbs 18:22. Another translation says, he that has found a good wife has found a good thing and shall receive a pleasure from the Lord. Another one says, if you find a wife, you have found something good. She shows that the Lord is happy with you. Another translation, whoever finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Another one says, the man who finds a wife finds a good thing. She is a blessing to him from the Lord. Another translation says, find a good spouse, you find a good life, and even more, the favor of God. To another one, to find a wife is to find happiness, a favor granted by the Lord. Another one says, the one who has found a good wife has found what goodness is and obtained a delightful gift from the Lord. Another one, the man who finds a wife finds a treasure and he receives favor from the Lord. Another translation says, when a man finds a wife, he has found a treasure, for she is the gift of God to bring him joy and pleasure. All right? So now, question with all of that, I'm still building my case. How can a marriage be hard if it's full of favor? How can it be hard if that favor is producing joy and pleasure? Now, when it says find favor, remember, favor is tangible. All right? In other words, with it being tangible, you're able to see some evidence. You know, you're able to show what's happened to you because of the gift. Because favor is tangible. All right? Now, note it says you obtain favor from a wife. Doesn't say a woman. You obtain favor from a wife, not a woman. Let me build my case some more. I think I could have been an attorney if I, just hold on, I got to build my case. Proverbs 31:10, most of us know that, about the virtuous woman, but I'm going to save some time. I'm going to read it straight out of the Message Bible. Proverbs 31st chapter, verse 10 says, "A good woman is hard to find and worth far more than diamonds. Her husband trusts her without reserve and never has reason to regret it. Never spiteful, she treats him generously all her life long. She shops around for the best yarn," because this is referring, virtuous woman is virtuous wife. Now, people who was to take that as just woman, it's talking about a wife. "She shops around for the best yarns and cottons and enjoys knitting and sewing. She's like a trading ship that sails to faraway places and brings back exotic surprises. She's up before dawn, preparing breakfast for her family and organizing her day. She looks over a field and buys it. Then, with money she puts aside, plants a garden. First thing in the morning, she dresses for work, rolls up her sleeves, eager to get started. She senses the worth of her work, is in no hurry to call it quits for the day. She's skilled in the crafts of home, diligent in homemaking. She's quick to assist anyone in need, reaches out to help the poor. She doesn't worry about her family when it snows. Their winter clothes are all mended and ready to wear. She makes her own clothing and dresses in colorful linens and silks. Her husband is greatly respected when he deliberates with the city fathers. She designs gowns and sells them, brings the sweaters she knits to the dress shops. Her clothes are well made and elegant, and she always faces tomorrow with a smile. When she speaks, she has something worthwhile to say, and she always says it kindly. She keeps an eye on everyone in her household and keeps them all busy and productive. Her children respect and bless her. Her husband joins in with words of praise. Many women have done wonderful things, but you've outclassed them all. Charm can mislead and beauty soon fades. The woman to be admired and praised is the woman who lives in the fear of God. Give her everything she deserves." Okay. Is marriage hard? Jesus said in Matthew 11:30, and this goes with anything in life, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Another translation says, "Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me, work with me, watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitted on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." Now, with all of that said, from a biblical standpoint, and there is much, much more in that. How in the world, from a biblical standpoint, is marriage hard? From a biblical standpoint. Now, a couple things. I'm going to let you loose. Because I got to build my case. See, I don't just be up here saying anything. Why is marriage hard for many? Here's the opposite. Or what can make it hard? 3 things at least. Number 1, a lack of knowledge. In other words, a lack of knowledge on what a husband or wife is based on the Bible. I spent nearly 20 years talking about that. A lack of knowledge on what a husband, getting married don't make you a husband. Getting married don't make you a wife. It's a lack of knowledge of what a biblical husband is, because there are qualifications, and what a biblical wife is. Because when you're ready to get married, you are already a husband. You are already a wife. It's just a matter of those purposes coming together. So that's number 1, lack of knowledge, what can make it hard. Number 2, unequally yoked. Now we know the opposite. Once again, something I've taught for 20 years. Once again, we understand the unequally yoked of believer and non-believer, but we also know that you can have 2 Christians who are unequally yoked. In other words, you can have 2 Christians who are fundamentally different in all important aspects. They saved, but they are fundamentally different, which makes them unequally yoked. Number 3, that could make it hard, hardness of heart. In other words, there can be unforgiveness, there can be bitterness, and that could be with both parties, or that could even be with one spouse. And we know if there are some issues there, Scripture tells us, can 2 walk together except they agree? So you can't come into agreement when hearts are hard. Even if one of the hearts are hard, you can't come into agreement. In other words, a hard heart is hardened because you're unwilling to agree with what's right. I rest my case for right now.
Woo! My God. Okay, you gave a list about what a wife is, and you just gave a small part.
Small
of
part.
A husband. Just a small part.
Yeah, just a small part.
So the husband don't have no big old giant part. Just the wife got this big old long list.
Everybody know I've been teaching once again for 20 years on the qualifications of a husband. A husband, we'll go back from the very beginning. When God made Adam, before Eve physically came on the scene, he gave him a place to do, to dress it, to work, everything provided. Everything in the garden was provided. Everything. Everything was provided. So Eve didn't have to do anything.
So the reason why, let's just make this very clear, because you gave your list as a lawyer.
No, I gave it as a man of God. I just brought my case like a lawyer.
The reason why a marriage is so hard is because the man didn't choose the right wife.
Well, choose. It can go vice versa, because you have.
Because I'm only saying this because you gave this long list about looking for a wife and what the wife's qualification is. Now, it's the man that seek the wife. Mm-hmm. It's the man that choose the wife.
Okay.
So when that man choose that wife or seek that wife, did he choose one that's fittable for him?
Well, if based on the Scriptures now that's what I could, because I don't.
So in other words, so if the man choose the wife and he chose the wife, and if he said it is very hard for me to have a marriage, or hard for this marriage, then it's saying that you chose the wrong one. No,
it's not necessarily saying that, because maybe he wasn't ready. See, we've got to understand something. Sometimes you can it's just like none of us think the same way, depending on how old you are, none of us think the same way we did 10, 15, 20 years ago. We made decisions based on the knowledge we had at hand years ago that if we had those same choices today, we wouldn't do it. So that's what you have. You generally have people who, from a biblical standpoint, now I got to stick with that because I can't get into worldly stuff because that can be 1,001 explanations. But from a biblical standpoint, there are qualifications.
So in other words, what you're saying is that...
And then if a husband, because both people from a biblical standpoint should understand those qualifications. In other words, as a husband, I understand my qualification, and then if a wife believes in God for her husband, she understands her qualification and his. We understand each other's qualifications.
But what you're saying too is that you're saying that majority of people, based on what you're saying about the information, got married for the wrong reason.
Well, it turns out to be that way because if you didn't know the right reason, you just married, it was right for you at the time. But lack of knowledge does not exclude you or does not exempt you from the consequences of making wrong and bad choices.
So even though I might have got married based on economical,
Yeah.
or got married because I was pregnant,
Yeah.
or got married because I needed a place to live.
Yeah.
So in other words, so then now I'm confessing that marriage is hard.
Well, that's basic. That's the whole.
I'm confessing that, I just, it's just, because the thing about this, even though I am saved, I didn't read the book.
Right. Like most of us didn't.
So I'm saved, but I never read the qualifications
Exactly.
of what a wife is. And I assumed because she was in church,
Or he was in church.
or I was there, he was in church, that this woman confession is her confession. That she saved.
Yeah.
That she was going to treat me the way that God would treat God or her husband or wife.
But how would a person know that?
Know what?
What you said, that this person going to treat me the way God, how do you know that? How do you know the way you're supposed to be treated?
Because you say you're saved.
No. Because you saved don't give you knowledge. Because you go to school don't make you smart. Because you go to church don't make you saved. What do I always say? You stand in the garage, that don't make you a car. So one say they saved don't mean they know this.
So okay, because majority of people that married, that's in the church, and they not happy, and because they did find a suitable mate for them at that time, do you get to change your mind now you realize what you done made?
Now, what are you asking? Get to change your mind?
Because it's like if it's a good thing, it's
supposed to
great thing.
be. It's supposed to be.
It's a marvelous thing.
Exactly.
For me to because really,
when it's done right.
It's really the man gained more favor by me walking in your life.
Well, you know what? Okay, from that standpoint, but don't make it seem as if that it's more of a blessing to a man. No, it's not. It's equal.
You're the one that said
No. I understand the fact, but you know what? Okay, let me put it in an example. That's all true. Favor this, that. But then who gets part of that favor?
Who gets part of what favor?
Okay, because of married a wife and it releases favor and this or that. And when I'm happy and everything, who gets all that overflow too? It gets back. It goes back.
I understand that, but your quotes. All the quotes
I didn't make no quotes. It was scripture.
Whatever. When you find a wife, you found a good thing.
Yeah.
Am I the good thing?
Yeah. When you find a wife. Yeah.
Okay.
And find favor.
Okay, now. And found favor.
Yeah.
Am I the favor?
Yeah. And the favor is tangible.
But no. But it said when a man.
Yeah. Findeth a wife. When a husband findeth a wife.
When he findeth me.
Yeah. When he findeth a wife.
Then I'm good.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it helps make the whole union good.
And it's good Because I make you look good.
See, I hear what you're saying, but I don't want
No,
this. Wait.
I'm
I hear what you're saying. I don't want this 51-50. This ain't that. This ain't like this side makes it more something. It ain't that.
No,
it's
not,
equal level. It's playing field.
I'm still going by what you said.
No, what the Bible said, not what I say.
What the Bible said.
Right.
The quotes that you have written.
From the Bible.
Okay, whatever. But the thing about this, you saying this, in other words, I'm not supposed to bring shame to you, right?
Right. And vice versa.
To make you look good.
Well, okay, yeah. And that goes in both. That goes in both things.
If I look raggedy, if my hair not done.
Okay. Now,
Wait a minute.
okay, I know where you're gonna go.
I'm looking raggedy.
Yeah.
Then I'm making you look bad.
Okay, that is true in that sense. But if we were sticking with the Bible, if you are a virtuous wife, under no circumstance will you be looking raggedy.
I know that for myself personally, but truly it's because the measurement, because we are a measuring stick. In other words, we both have had compliments about how we look.
Sure.
And we both got compliments saying like, oh wow man, you sure treat her nice. Oh wow,
Right.
you treat him good, whatever and stuff. Because people look at us both, they don't
Right.
look at us single and like, oh my, you
Right,
look,
sure.
Lord, you taking care of him or whatever. They'll say that to us.
But see, that's looking on the outside. Most people don't have a clue to the spirituality of this. So I get that. Man looks on the outside. We understand that.
So, can this be fair to say? Can this be fair to say? If the man quoting, I said if the man quoting, it is so hard to be married. Can we not say that it's based on the woman you chose?
No. I'm not gonna put that on the woman because you got women saying it's hard. This is not a gender thing. When they say marriage, you got both folks saying it. This ain't just men saying it. You got women saying it too.
You got women saying it, but it still go by according to the Bible. When a man finds.
But we're not putting it just on that man. If you were a wife, believe in God, and then a man come, I didn't say a husband, you ain't giving him a thought that way.
Well, the thing about this, you want to put me.
No, I'm not saying you personally.
Okay.
I'm speaking general with this.
General
from somebody.
Most women.
Okay, now you're taking away from a biblical
No,
standpoint.
I'm giving the biblical too. Most women is looking for security.
Yeah.
So when they feel they got security, they would bow down to take care of that man.
Okay, right. I don't like using that about because it seems
But,
submissive
okay,
and slavery like.
They will.
No. I hear what I hear what you're saying. But see, I got to go back to this. Now, we can play the other side. And the other side is the reasons we have a lot of this because it's a lack of knowledge. That's the bottom line. You know, most problems is a result of what we don't know. And that's why I gave at least 3 things. Lack of knowledge, hardness of heart, or either being unequally yoked. Because it was never designed for it to be like that. God never intended that to happen.
Now you said the hardening of heart, which means one or
both
of us got a hardened heart.
Yeah, things happen.
So now if our heart is hard, who gonna bow?
Well, it's not. I don't like saying bow. Because I hear what you're saying, but it's
okay. If it's hard, if the heart is hard, don't make this hard.
No, I'm not. I'm just careful in how we say what we say to.
If our heart is hard, how long do we supposed to be suffering in a marriage?
Okay. Let me put it like this: when a person's heart is hard, and we saying they saved, there's bitterness there, obviously. And you are out of fellowship with God, point blank, because sin is sin, you know. When your heart is hard, when there's bitterness, because a result of certain things, obviously there's unforgiveness in there, and you out of fellowship with the Lord. Because everything works, even faith works by love. So when love has evaporated, you are out of fellowship with the Lord, first of all. Ain't no sense in getting that. And that's just as a Christian. And that could be whether with a spouse or with your cousin or with your neighbor. It doesn't matter. So now when you have a person's heart hardened, or even to the extent of one is offended, what does Scripture say? It's harder to open the bars than a brother who's been offended. So when a person is like that, unwilling to want to do what's right, and we all know that nothing is stronger than a person's will. So if I'm unwilling to do what's right, it ain't nothing to talk about. I got bigger issues other than spouse and people around me. I am out of fellowship with the Lord. You know, so, you know.
Okay, you said to say what?
No, I thought I was answering your question.
I don't think you did.
Well, what was your question?
I said that when the heart is hardened, then what are we? Okay, now we already established when the heart is hardened, and
that's one of the reasons. One of the
I
reasons.
said that you didn't like the word. I said bow.
Yeah.
Okay, then what I'm saying. Okay, if you didn't like. Okay, now what I'm saying is that now, if we have a, I just feel like this. We have a stalemate with a chess. Yeah. We have a stalemate.
Well, I'm not a chess player.
Well, in chess playing is just the game is not moving.
Okay,
The game is not
and
moving.
why isn't it moving?
Because is who going to make the next move?
Well, if you're in a marriage and you playing those immature games, then you got a problem. And if you say you Christians. See, this is what I'm trying to say. When you're a Christian, when you're really a Christian, and it can happen to get in you, there is conviction. I've said this for not 20 years, 36 years. For any Christian, can we sin? Absolutely. For a Christian to sin and there's no conviction, you're probably not saved. You couldn't be. Couldn't be.
Now, when you say sin, do you mean sinning or
plural or singular?
No, but let me make
Go
my
ahead.
case. Are you saying sinning, meaning that I do it the same sin over and over again, or I might have lied today?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I'm not a liar, because I don't lie every day.
Right, what you're saying.
So is that considered just sin, or I'm a sinner? Sinning, or is a way of my life?
Well, if you saved, you're not a sinner.
Okay.
Okay? But to sin, whatever it is that's contrary to the truth of God, or whatever God said not to do, and if a Christian does that, there is a conviction. If there's not, how could you possibly have the Spirit of God? Because remember, the Spirit gets born again. Now, your mind needs to be renewed and all of that. And you can still have crazy thoughts and whatever, and you may whatever. But that spirit, the spirit man in you is born. The spirit man is holy. So that's why if that light in you get mixed with darkness, it brings a conviction. Now, you may not have the strength to overcome or whatever, but there's a conviction in your spirit that wasn't right. If you don't get that, you probably never been saved. I don't care what anybody says. Challenge me on it in the Word. Because the spirit man gets born. It's the Spirit of God. Your spirit is perfect. It is God. Can God sin? No, that's why he had to separate himself from Jesus. When Jesus was made sin on the cross, God had to leave him. And that's why Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because God can have no encounter with sin. Can't do it.
Okay, now, with that in mind, and I'm a Christian, and my heart is hard, and I have a principle, and my principle is louder
Than the word?
than the word.
Yeah.
And so now, what do I do? Because I should not, because if all this is good, I mean, are you saying that it's so good that we can't have an argument?
No. You can have, now it's dependent on how we define an argument. You know, you have disagreements. No one is going to agree on everything. You know, you can agree to disagree on something but as far as something that really, really matters, you know, now what a married Christian couple do is something comes up that's really important where it's like, no, I'm not saying, well, I believe this way. Then you know what our source is? Let's check, what does the word say? Come on. And it don't matter what we feeling or what we thinking. It's like if the word say this, then that settles that, whether we feel like it or not. It's no different than forgiving people, loving your enemies. Is that hard for the flesh? You know it is, but it ain't nothing to talk about. If you're a Christian, you got to forgive, even if you don't feel like it. So when issues come up that can create division in a married couple, if we Christians, we got to go with what does the word say? If the words say, you know, I'll give you an example. That would be like we have financial challenges. And then we both know tithing and giving is whatever. Then I get weak or you get weak and like, you know, we can't, you know, you can't be paying no tithes and getting no money. You know, we got to pay these bills. And then we arguing about it. Then we got to go back. What does the word say? If we Christians, then that squashes and eliminates any opinions we have. Because if we Christians, we're supposed to believe what he say. You know, we don't have a right to believe what we want to believe if we Christians. You know. Now,
so in other words, you have totally eliminated divorce on the table.
What if you two Christians? No, I'm not saying the limit, because there are issues that happen with people where.
But how you don't eliminate divorce if you're saying that, okay, if we get to a standpoint,
that's what you're supposed to do.
We get to a standpoint, and then I'm evaluating what the word says, or listen to what the word says.
Right.
Then evaluate divorce.
No, that's providing if you obey what the word say. You got a lot of people who ain't gonna obey. They'll be like, I don't care what you say. I know what you did in my heart, and blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on. You know, we all have free will. You know, people know what the Bible say in some cases. They're like, I know what you say, but I don't feel like doing it.
Okay, so then let's get this part straight. So in other words, we get to a stalemate, and now we look in the word, and the word tell us clearly how to make a decision. So they eliminate divorce. Now what you're saying is that they eliminate divorce, and no Christian should ever think about divorce.
Well, if you both saved, that should not be the intention. You don't get into a marriage. I don't think anybody, whether they're unsaved, get into a marriage thinking about that.
Nobody have intention of getting divorced.
Right.
Nobody have intention.
Right.
When you get married.
Right.
Nobody said I'm going to marry you for 5 years and then we will be divorced.
Right.
Nobody have that intention.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that even though we have people that say they saved,
Yeah.
but they really not saved.
Well, that's a different story.
And they marry you.
Yeah.
And then now that they true colors have came out.
Yeah.
Because they weren't saved when they married you, but they said it was saved. Now, what do they do when they recognize these qualifications do not qualify the qualifications.
So basically, you saying if two people get married and they assume that the other one was saved, that's it.
Because I know people.
Sure, yeah,
I know people.
yeah,
They will say the right thing
yeah,
before they get to the altar.
yeah.
And as soon as they get to the altar, they change like a heckle and jekyll. And I'm like, oh my God, they said, he wasn't like that, she wasn't like that before. And I'm thinking, like, you didn't see this.
But why didn't they see it?
I can't answer that.
No, they didn't see it because perhaps, two reasons. Maybe they saw it and ignored it, because sometimes people, and we know this, sometimes people put in their minds that if we get married, things will change. People think that in their head, you know, well, I know he this or that or she this or that, but once we get married, that's going to stop. That's a foolish thing all around to do. Then you also have some people who may not know that because they themselves is not together. Sometimes you're going to attract where you at.
What do that mean?
Well,
If I'm not really saved, I'm going to try somebody that's not really saved.
yeah.
So I really want to save
If you
anybody.
carnal or whatever it is, or you saved and your spirituality is 15, basically, yeah.
So what do you do with that when we both are, you know, I got a revelation of the Word of God, and then all you got is just coming to church?
Well, like I said, so we're saying that the people in the marriage, obviously they didn't follow, or most of us didn't follow the biblical standpoint from the beginning. And then that makes things difficult. But then what you do, like anything else, is we learn in the Word of God, we renew our minds. You know, there are a lot of things you and I didn't know 36 years ago. But then as we learn, we renewed our minds and we implemented it in our marriage. Where it became into that, because the more we implemented this and renewed our minds and understood our roles and everything, and that's how things became the way they are. So you can have people who had that lack of knowledge, but then, because you can't do what you don't know. That's why I keep telling people who are single, do it the right way, because if you do it the right way, you will avoid a lot of this stuff. But see, we don't want to do that because we're in a rush. Our flesh is crying. And then we're willing to take that chance. See, it's easy to take that chance when you haven't been through some stuff. And then you can look at other people. That won't be me. But what do I say? Nobody is above the law. You jump off the building single, you're falling down. If you jump off the building married, you're falling down. So we get ourselves in some of these situations because we're not willing to do it God's way. So we get into Ishmael situations.
And make it hard for us.
And make it hard.
And tell everybody that marriage is hard. We quote tell everybody marriage is hard.
Yeah.
You know, you really want to do this?
And it's hard from a Christian standpoint. Like I said, unsaved people, you know, good luck. That's the truth. Good luck on that when you're unsaved, because you're liable of doing anything when you're unsaved.
But what about all these quotes that say all church people are not what they really are?
And when a person say that, I say, how many church folks you know? You know how many tens of millions of Christians there are in America? So how many church folks you know? Now maybe the 12 you around. Okay, let's we can keep going. We might have to do a whole series. We don't. Listen, we had some online questions, and let me do that before we open it up public. We took a little longer than I thought. How important? This is an online question. How important is getting along with your spouse's family Can your bond be strong enough to stand, or will it break the relationship? Now, this online question, I got this earlier. It was sent to me earlier, and I thought about it. Two things. From a natural standpoint, that's only as important to the degree of the closeness a person has with their family. In other words, it really don't matter to some people because they're not close to their family. So it don't matter whether their spouse close to their family or not, because they ain't. That's from a natural standpoint. You know, so it only matters, or it's only important is what it means to you personally. In other words, if I have no close relationship with my family, it don't matter whether they like you or not, or you like them, because I ain't close with them. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, if that family, and I'm sorry, that's why I gave both from a natural standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, if that family understands destiny and purpose, then it does matter. It totally matters. Because any division or dissension, it can possibly affect destiny. All right? So when a family is divided, that family's purpose is disrupted. That's why it's important to allow God to join purpose. And the scriptures say what God has joined together, which lets me know God didn't join every marriage together. And what God joins together is purpose. God joins purpose. He don't join people. God joins purpose. So when a godly family is walking in their purpose, it affects who they allow to come into their family by way of marriage. We know that with Isaac, when they with Isaac, when they sent out one of the servants to search for a wife for Isaac, for Rebekah, she had to meet certain qualifications that was pertinent to the purpose of Isaac, and that lineage, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that eventually leads to Jesus.
So in other words, if I marry somebody to get my child off, we got a problem.
It will be a problem.
It'll be a problem.
It will be a problem.
Because my child was born to be a fisherman. Mm-hmm. And now you got him at a sales store at Cape Mart.
So you got somebody, whether it's son or daughter, either way, they hate fish.
They hate fish.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Because remember the story with Rebekah, they was going to measure based on if she was able to get certain pours of water. And if she was able to do that, and plus she had an understanding of fields. And that was important to the lineage.
So when you got somebody get the family member off where their destiny's supposed to be, then that's a problem.
That is a problem. That's why God joins purpose. In other words, if I'm believing God for a spouse or vice versa, and obviously I'm operating in my purpose, because I shouldn't be getting married if I don't know what my purpose is. See, this all goes into qualifications. It's almost like this is the word, and it sounds so far-fetched for Christians. You know, so if I understand that, then I'm going to be drawn and to purpose. Those purpose is going to come together. Because I know of some.
I would not be with somebody if I like travel.
Well, you saying if that's
yeah. If I love traveling, I would not be I should not be attracted. I shouldn't be attracted to a person that likes staying at home. Because, wait a minute, because I'm saying that because I want to go to Jamaica. And every time I mentioned Jamaica, you said, let's stay home. And now I am stuck at home because you don't want to go nowhere.
Okay, let me say it, because this reminds me of the second question online. Now, trips and that's a key thing, but that's not what we're initially talking about, purpose. So we ain't talking about purpose going on trips.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that
But
I'm
now
an
if you
outgoing
say-
person. I'm an outgoing person.
Okay.
I like people.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
changes. I like this and that. I like this
Okay.
and that. And then I go with I get hooked up with somebody
Okay.
that's antisociable.
Okay.
That don't know how to be around other people, don't know how to blend in with different groups.
Yeah.
They're always non-talkable. And now what I do.
Well, okay, from a natural standpoint like that, I always question a person, if I'm a sociable person, why would I be talking to you who antisociable? Soon as I say, hey, what's going on? And you like a mute. I'm like, see ya. Now that's you ain't got no Jesus really for that.
No, but when I saw you, I saw how cute you were. And so now I am saying, hey, and then when I get hooked up with you, then I'm back.
No. See, now, certain things you ain't gonna pretend. If it's like, okay, then you know what? Put that pretending back on.
I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying. Because if you were able to do that, hey, and then all of a sudden we together, and now you like.
When you want something, you can be whatever that person needs
You're right.
until you get it.
Okay.
It's just like a man is a hunter when it comes to women that's a virgin.
Well,
No, seriously.
well, we
It's like,
ain't
oh
gonna
my
say that
God.
everybody is not like that. I got to clarify that. Some ungodly men. No. This is a religious program. Now I got to be honest with that. Everybody ain't like that, and I don't want that being sent out because they not. That godly man ain't like that. Ain't supposed to be. That's ungodly men.
The key word.
That was stuff I did in high school.
I'm only saying the fact that you would do anything, and we know that people would do anything to get the person
To whatever.
to do whatever.
Right. Well, like I said, let's answer this question. This is on, I guess, another online. How can I, and this goes in line with what you said, how can I encourage my spouse for us to do new things together? I want us to start a new show. I don't know if they're in the show, but, or even new adventures, but he obviously this is his wife, but he wants to do the same thing. This kind of goes in line. It kind of goes into, did you know a person was like that? See, this is why being a certain way matters. Even if you take Jesus out of the equation, you should already have some type of standard within yourself. You know, when we get saved, things change, but a certain whatever. And so it's kind of like, didn't you know this person don't like doing anything? Before you married them, didn't you date them long enough?
But I know a couple that the person they hooked up with, they like everything together.
Mm-hmm.
The person was a sports person, so his wife loved sports. She loved basketball. She loved all the sports and stuff. And then she changed. And she liked going out, but he liked being at home when the game is on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I want to go out.
Now, I can understand people can change for different reasons, sometimes for the good and sometimes for the not good. Sometimes change could be a result of environment, who you start getting around. And people start changing. You know, you didn't like clubs before, then your cousin came from out of town and said, let's go to the club. Oh, okay, I go. Then all of a sudden you get there and you like it. You know, now you've put yourself, you've tasted something that you shouldn't. You know, and then now you kind of like that club and stuff. And then your husband and your wife are looking like, man, what happened? So people can change in a good way, then sometimes in a bad way. But with this question, you have to talk. Sometimes is your husband kind of, some men, not all, could be kind of one-track minded. They don't like to color outside of the box. Some people are comfortable in their zone, and they sometimes resist, even if change could be better. They just so used to their comfort zone. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I'm used to taking Lake Street to go downtown. And somebody tell me, you know what, you can get downtown quicker if you go Madison. No, I don't want to do that. So sometimes some people are afraid to go outside of that. So you could have some people, yeah, I don't want to go on no trip. They just kind of one-track minded. Then sometimes you could have people, based on this question, they want to do something new. Sometimes people think it takes money to do stuff. And then if you have financial issues or whatever, or if you cheat, then you're going to always go against that. No, we don't need that. Can we just go downtown? No, we don't need to do that. So you can have a person whose mindset is like that. Then you could also have a person who's afraid of trying new things. Why? Because they're afraid of failing. Because when you have people, whether man or woman, who fear failure, those are the ones who never want to do anything different because they're afraid that if I try to do something different, I may fail at it. So they never do it. So it could be several reasons for that, other than the obvious.
So what is your suggestion for her?
My suggestion is she talk to her and find out, you know, hey, let's so and so, and find out what is the reason. How come you don't want to try this or that, or how come you don't want to whatever? And sometimes you can be creative. Sometimes and start with sometimes something simple, instead of, you know, eating dinner out of the paper plates. And I'm just using this as an example. When he get home, the dinner is in some real plates. Try something, be settled, but something just kind of simple. You know, and see how and then he might like that. It's just like you have people, I used to hear people for years be against cruises. They be, I don't like cruises. I like, you ever been on one? No. How you know you don't like them? I don't like steaks. You ever had one? No. How you know you don't like it? It's just like, and I've said this before, I did not like trucks, trucks, because for some reason they reminded me of the Army. I'm not against our soldiers. There's certain ones they reminded me of the Army, and I didn't like them until I said, forget it. I think my first was oh gosh, I can't remember what, because I gave it to somebody. And I'm like, I like this. And I started liking trucks. And from here out, it's like, I like trucks. So sometimes you don't know what you like until you try it. So sometimes maybe the person, they could be one-track minded, or they could be whatever, but she needs to kind of talk with them and say, hey, let's do some things. And if you say, pray to the Lord, Lord, give me some wisdom. Because I know I'm his good thing. Give me some wisdom how I can whatever. And the Lord will do that. The Lord will, he'll give you some wisdom. Because the Spirit of God knows the spirit, the heart of a man. You know, so hopefully that helps. All right, come on, bring them on down. Wow, our introduction was a lesson, wasn't it?
It was the list, Pastor. It was the list.
Well, you know me. You know, certain things I got to make my point with the Scripture. Because if you're a Christian, you can't argue with Scripture. Now, you can debate my opinions all day long, but if you're a Christian, you can't argue the Scripture. All right. It says a wife is help to the husband. Is that based on how the husband wants help, or what I think he needs help with? Where he says he doesn't need help, I see he could use it. Well, without getting back into the help need and original and all of that, both people should always be willing to help where it's needed at. You know, if I don't need help in something, then I don't need any help. That would be no different if I'm lifting this.
I can see her putting would say like, it's like if you are struggling picking up a refrigerator.
Okay.
And you say, I don't need no help. And I'm looking at you, about to fall down with the refrigerator. And I said, do you want me to help you? No, I got this. I got this. And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to let you do this on your own because I see clearly you need help. But you don't want to know help because you're trying to be macho and handle it yourself. And I'm like myself, you know you need help.
Well, I get that part of it, but then the flip side to that is that's your refrigerator too. And if he drop it.
No, it ain't about if you drop it. I asked you, did you need help?
No, what I'm
And
trying,
you
yeah.
said that
I know what you said. What I'm saying is, since that's your refrigerator too, you see he need help. You don't care what he say.
Oh my
Let me
God.
help you.
You see how you flip that? You see how you, because I said if you struggling with the refrigerator.
If you see it.
No, but I asked you, do you need help? And you said
Okay,
no.
yeah, and you know he's trying to be macho. And you like, I don't care what you say. I don't want you dropping my refrigerator. Now, I get the part you saying that way.
If you get it, then you wouldn't have said
No,
that.
no. But then I did it this other way too. If you see it, that's your refrigerator too. And you seeing he's struggling about to drop it?
No, okay, the thing about this, what I'm trying to prove a point is that some men, I ain't said all men, let's make this clear. Some men are so proud they would not ask for help.
And that's foolish. I agree. That is foolish.
Thank you.
That is foolish. So, you know, but see, the thing is this. If something, you say refrigerator, it could be with anything. It could be finances. It could be anything. We're supposed to be in this together. If I see what you're doing is not working and it's hurting, and I have an idea that can, either man or woman, that can make this work together, somebody needs to swallow pride. And as a spouse, you got a right to say, you know what you doing? This ain't working. Now we need to do something. What are we gonna do about this? And if he said that, well, I'm thinking, okay, well, I got a suggestion. Why don't we such and such such? Because anybody would still want some real answers. And a man who's secure, like, well, tell me what to do.
Well, I guess the key word is secure.
Yeah,
Because it ain't just as simple as black and white.
I understand what you're saying.
And it's not as simple as that I want to hear what you have
Because
to say.
most people, a lot of marriages don't have the we factor in there. They don't understand the one. You know, there is no, your idea is our idea. My idea is our idea. If it's
Even
good,
though
if
it
it's,
came out of your
it don't
mouth.
matter. It's good for the cause. Who cares who came up with it? If we got a goal for the refrigerator to go over here, who cares how I get over there? Let's get it over there. You know, we got a goal to buy a house. Who cares who finds it? You know, it does, whatever it is, it doesn't make a difference. You know. Okay. Couple minutes, we'll do open Q&A. Couple minutes. Well, if there's any more online questions, those if you got a question, quickly fill out the information and we'll, hopefully we can get it done. We've got about 10 minutes or so.
So, just to talk about, because you said as a Christian, these are the qualifications of being a husband and a wife. And I want to talk about two parts, or ask two parts to this question. One, how important is it for single people who Christian to have the blessing from their pastoral team, from their pastors, and talk about that. And the second part that I want to talk about is Christians who decide to go to City Hall to get married. And what is your stance on that? Once again, it kind of correlates with both questions, and one being your pastors, whether female or male or whatever, sharing with you that this is not who you should be marrying. I just bring myself to the point, besides you guys being my biological parents, but the week before my wedding, I said to my pastors, if this is not right, I will quit this today. And it's not even to be funny, it was really sincere, because this is your life. You know, someone can be in your life and steer you the wrong way and put a strain on where you're trying to go. And especially for people who know their purpose, who are educated, who are business-minded, who have all these different things, and to allow somebody to come into your life and to tear that down is really a sad story. So I just want you to just share the importance of having that pastoral leadership to even help you to discern. Because no one would make a decision to marry Boo Boo the Fool if they have their pastoral leadership to give them insight. They wouldn't, I just believe that. I believe that nobody will go down the aisle and want the pastor who's speaking to them to marry them, and they see that the person's not right. They see that the person's going whatever. And also the part where they say, well, I'm not going to go to my pastor. I'm going to go to City Hall and come back and bring the person.
Well,
Let me say this. You know, I had somebody call me up. And they called me up. They didn't ask me this once, they asked me this twice. And the pastor made them a daughter. Not only a daughter, but she was a minister in the church. She was a minister in the church. And so she called me and said, well, I want to marry this person. And I feel that it'd be best for us to go to City Hall. And I told her, you know, she called me up and asked me this question. Now, she could have did this on her own, but she called me and asked me. I said, now, your pastor has made you a daughter. Not only have your pastor made you a daughter, your pastor also made you a leader in the church. In other, she was a prophetess or whatever in the church. And I said, how are you going to shame the church that you are under and go to City Hall when you're supposed to be a daughter and a leader at the church? She said, well, you know, I don't really want to, I don't, because the people at my church, they don't understand him and they don't like him, so I think it'd be better for us to go somewhere. I said, well, something wrong with this picture, because he did not want counseling from their pastor. He felt that, that both parties were saved. Both parties were saved, and she was coming to me and called me up and said, well, what should I do about it? And I said, that'll be a shame to your leader. Right. I said, how dare you go and shame your leader in your church by going to City Hall? Yeah. And so I didn't recommend it. I didn't. And she's not married to him today, but it's still with her covering, saying, yeah, well, they don't understand him. Yeah. And now that's something wrong with that picture, because if he want her, he want us.
Plus, that is really, let alone to leadership, that's really like a slap in the face to God. That you would choose, instead of having your spiritual leader, you would choose a possible heathen judge. Now, I say if you saved, to marry you, and you're a Christian, believing in biblical principles, than a spiritual leader. A heathen judge, possible. Even on paper, that don't even sound right for a Christian to do that. He also
said that he was a prophet within himself.
Well, you know.
He was a man of God. See, the thing about this, I'm telling you, have
yeah, I know.
He's a man of God too. Yeah. You know, he's big in church, but I don't want him to. The church is not. You know, they don't like him.
You know, let's say this, you saying it, because you can call yourself whatever. And then I'll say this. You can have people with titles. That don't automatically mean you in order. People in positions get out of order every day. So that don't mean that. Because a person is, they're an evangelist in the church, so they know God. And? What does that mean? And basically, when stuff like that happens, and I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time, when a woman, or if it's a man, when they do that, they've got the red flag. They know something not right. They just don't want to deal with it. So then you manufacture an excuse. Like the church, they just don't understand him or don't like him. You got a red flag. You know something is not right. And then a lot of people we see, they go ahead and do it anyway. And then 6 months, 6 years down the line, chaos. You know. So when every time anybody try to get around, if you're a Christian, try to get around standards and principles of church, you done got out of order already. You know, it don't matter what you say. I don't care if you Ebobo Shando. It doesn't matter. And people do that all the time. You know. So yeah, that's totally out of order. And it's the truth. Why would if you are a Christian, man or woman, and believe God in all of this, and you'll go instead of being, and I'm not saying you have to be in a church per se. You know, I have no problem with just the play, but you got a spiritual leader who's blessing it, then a possible heathenist judge.
But then also too, we have a couple at our church right now that this person that they met, they did not meet in church. They did not meet in church. She met him somewhere else, and he came to our church, and he was interested in her. And I told him, before you even look at her, you got to be a tither, and you got to come to my church. And of course, he didn't know me. He didn't know me at all. But he probably said, this woman telling me what to do. But I told him what to do. But he loved her enough. And he became a tither, and he came to the church, and they married today.
Well, the thing, too, is you were saying something what was, and I believe you knew it, that was something, wasn't just saying something to be saying something. That's what the Lord needed you to say to him. See, now, when you ain't spiritual minded, that sounds like you all in my business. We ain't about that here. It's either God or no. So that's what that was about.
But what I'm saying is that she did not meet him in the church.
Right.
She didn't meet him in the church. But he was following her.
Right.
He wanted to marry her.
Right.
And I said, well, she's my daughter, and you just can't, you don't bring no curse on her. Because when you marry an untither, and the person, you bring the curse on the family.
Well, let me put it that way. You can stop the flow of the blessing. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
You know. So to answer that question, absolutely. To get around that, it's just out of order. It's just totally out of order. And like I say, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that because our flesh, you know, our flesh is selfish. You know, your flesh would want anything before God. It is selfish. I'm talking about flesh. I ain't saying you. The flesh in itself, it talks about in the scripture, it's sensual. It's evil. And that's what most people do. A lot of people do. You know, they know if they say they know they should, they know, but their flesh is so, you know. And then you have other reasons. We know this, people with fear. That, you know, I don't want to make this, you know, if I tell this person they got to do this, they might leave. And you know what a lot of that, and we're going to wrap this up, where it goes right back to square one. If you get yourself together, trust me on this, you will avoid a lot of stuff. See, this is with anything. If there's certain things that's embedded, that's truly in you, and this is who you are, you won't even necessarily have to worry with certain type of people even coming your way. They won't. Now that's hard for some people, because you hear people, why I keep attracting all these crazy bad people? Because there's a set point in you that attracts that. Let me say this in a good way. Come on with this. And this is nothing against sin is sin. This is nothing against it. Now, let me say it in a nice way. And I love everybody. I'm not against people. You know, as God, He hates the sin, but not the sinner. That's not it. But in a good example, homosexuality. That never, saved before saved, anyone ever approached me like that. Even when I got saved, even as a pastor, and I know quite a few, they're afraid to come around me. I know some preachers, because there's nothing in me. They won't even come around. If that was just a little bit, because I'm telling the truth, it's a set point in all of us. And you're going to attract what's in you. You could have a person who's on drugs and they say, I just need to get out of Chicago and go to California. Guess what? It's going to be in California. Debate me on that. You can't. It's a set point in everybody. Everybody. And whatever's rooted in that, that attraction is going to come like that.
That's why you got to get it out of you.
You got to get it out of you.
You got to get it out.
I talked about it Sunday. You got to get them trees, get it uprooted.
Get it out.
So you don't
I'm not
even,
that person
so
anymore.
exactly. So you can avoid even certain things like that coming at you. You got yourself together where, hey, listen, I'm in God, I'm blah, blah, blah. Your head straight on. You trying to build your business, your money. You ain't got time for no starter dude. You won't even be attracted to that. A starter dude, he'll look from a distance, but he'll know he ain't got a chance.
Because I'm busy working on me.
That's real life, folks. Now, I ain't coming against you. I feel somebody. I ain't coming against you. If certain things coming against you, you know what? I need to work on me then. I need to get that out of me. Because I keep attracting these bums. I keep attracting these nasty girls. I got to get that out of me so I can stop the attraction. Stop the attraction. I'll take it a step further. You know why women don't come after me? They look. They got binoculars. Come on, this real life. They got binoculars from here to California. But you know why they don't? Because it ain't in me. And they ain't coming at me like that. They ain't got nothing to do with her. Don't think for a minute, oh, his wife. I ain't got nothing to do with that. They don't know her. If that spirit of adultery was in me, the line would be from here to Nova Scotia. I talk to preachers about that, pastors about that. That they wives getting all mad and going off in church, they ain't got nothing to do with that. It start with him.
Yeah, I do. I talk to pastor's wife and stuff, and women would come into the church and doing stuff, and I said, you better check him.
Check him.
Check him. I mean, I'm not, like, you just don't know, look at him. Look at him. Go ahead.
Come on.
So this actually kind of go along with what you said just now, and even you talking about the flesh is selfish and it wants what it wants. So as Christian women and Christian men, how do you know that you're ready? Because sometimes you could tell yourself you're ready because your flesh feels like it's ready, because maybe your flesh is lonely. You know, your flesh want to hang out, your flesh. So how do you actually know I'm ready? Because you may be like, because you change, you might be like, I'm not attracting Bobo no more. But, you know, you attracted something else that really ain't what you should be attracting, but it look better than Bobo because Momo got a job, Momo got a car, Momo got a house, but Momo might not be the right person for you either. So how do you really know, like, I'm ready, you know, I'm healed from stuff and I could enter into a healthy relationship?
You know how you will know that you are ready when you got somebody that love you, that's been watching you, that know where you're going. I'm not attracted to him. When you get your pastor and your leader seeing what they can see in them, because I'm not attracted to him, I ain't got nothing to lose. But then they'll say, oh yeah, this is good. This is good for you. You know, I don't have to know him personally, but I know this is good for you. Because see, I'm not attracted to him. I'm not, I ain't got nothing to lose about this. Because, and then, see, this is where we don't want to go through that thin line of bringing them to the church for people to check. Because now they judge him. They don't even know him. Baby, I'm looking at this bum. I see this joker. I see that lust on him. He's playing you. No, he's not. He's playing you, baby. But see, you got the lust. You got the, oh, he's always there for me. Oh, he's everything I ever needed. Oh, but I'm not Google-eyed. I'm not all that with him. So I don't have that reservoir that you have. But if I know that he's good for you, I can tell that.
But I guess she's saying, knowing if she ready, she really answered her own question to a point.
But when she's ready, she'll bring him out.
Yeah, but I think she's saying when she's ready to be a wife, whatever, and saying because maybe somebody might look whatever. You answer your own. See, you recognize flesh. See, don't ever be deceived by that because flesh is deceptive. You know that old expression, the grass look green on the other side? It ain't. So you and people, when you get in lust is only deceptive love. That's all. Lust is the devil's perverted version of love. And sometimes people don't know the difference. So now, but you were saying a person can look better than so and so, but you always recognize that that's just my flesh. And you don't do that.
It does have to be around people that do love you.
Oh yeah,
It makes a difference to people that love you. And they don't, the sad part about
you got to be willing to be accountable to that too.
Yeah.
That what that looks that people you got to know that people do love you, and when you know that, if they say something that you may not agree with or they point something out, that they do love you. They ain't trying to hurt you. And sometimes you can, love doesn't hurt. Now people be saying, love hurt. There's no truth in that. People just say that, love, when you in love, you do anything. No, you don't. You in lust. Love doesn't hurt. Lust do. But love don't. That's another message for another time. Love don't hurt. Lust does, but love don't.
But when you know, believe me, you'll know. It's sincere. You'll know that you are ready, and then you'll find somebody that's ready too.
Yeah.
They're ready.
Yeah.
And the ironic part about that, we women, we go through several men. But men are looking for somebody right too. They're looking for somebody right. It ain't just they just looking to do. No, I've been looking for somebody. I've been looking for somebody to get married to. Just as much as you've been looking for somebody, I've been looking for someone.
Right.
I don't want to. Some men don't want no bozo. They want somebody that got something going for themselves.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And see, now if I know that, I won't be so desperate. Because I know somebody looking for me while I'm looking for them. Somebody, the same person that I'm looking for, they look for me too.
Mm-hmm.
And all the men in Chicago.
Yeah. See, it's even though one man find a wife, but get this, why you can be look. Nobody told it. Don't say you can't look. I'm a wife. I'm looking for my husband. And when that spiritual radar hit, he gonna find you. There she is, and there he is. See, don't ever get caught in things that women you're not supposed to look. If you a wife ready to get married, you are looking for your husband. Sometimes he can be held up by the Prince of Persia, and you got to keep calling him in, Daniel. You looking for him, he looking for you. But there's some demonic forces trying to hold it up. That was a word for somebody. We got to stop. We out of time. This has been Let's Talk About Marriage and the Family. God bless everybody. We'll see you this coming Sunday, 12:30 Central Standard Time. Hallelujah.
We are not out of word, but unfortunately, we are out of time. On behalf of Better Life Faith Church International, I want to thank you for joining our live stream today. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Let your friends know what you heard today. Also, if you want a copy of this message, or if you just want prayer, don't forget to call our prayer line at 877-324-8497. We'd love to hear from you. And always remember, when you learn better, you'll live better.